Okay, so my name is Jake McDonnell. I'm the librarian and registrar at the Commonwealth School, and welcome to the Commonwealth Library YouTube channel. And today we're going to be talking about general search strategies and tips. This is going to be a down and dirty video. It's going to sort of describe some overarching ideas and strategies when it comes to doing research for scholarly sources, in particular thinking about your academic research papers that you're doing for ancient history, but these tips can be applied more broadly than just that paper. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So when conducting searches, you definitely want to determine where to search, how you want to start your search process. And I think that a helpful framework for understanding that is thinking about the differences between scholarly and popular sources. Now, there's a entire video on our channel at the library dedicated to this, so I'm going to let you go ahead and click on that if you haven't already seen it. I really encourage you to review this video and think about the important and key differences that you can see when you're doing research between popular and scholarly sources, and think about the implications of having something that is popular that may not be peer reviewed inside your paper. So again, I really encourage you to look at that and to be thinking about how am I going to find exclusively scholarly sources while I'm doing my research here. So I think also you should be keyed in and queued up to be doing searches in the Commonwealth Library. We have a wonderful history collection. A lot of the collection is built around the research paper and facilitating students' individual pursuits of different topics for this paper. So highly encourage you to look through what we have there. Check out our online catalog, which is described in some of our other videos and is available through the library's webpage on the Commonwealth School website. Think about local libraries as well, in particular the Minuteman Library Network. These are going to be libraries that are closer to your home, easier to access, rather than the Boston Public Library, which you may only have limited amounts of time when you're in school to get to. These library networks have robust online search systems, which there will be a video for on this channel. And additionally, they have wonderful folks that are willing to help you with guided questions and guided research strategies, who are wonderful librarians working there. So super encourage you to look this up, and in the event that there's not a particular book in our library collection at Commonwealth, this is a great place to head off to. Additionally, online databases, which are going to have a lot of PDFs of scholarly articles and journal articles, book chapters. These are going to be incredibly useful for you, especially if for whatever reason you're not necessarily able to access physical collections at a given moment. So some of the big ones that I understand from our past students' research papers have been JSTOR and Cambridge Histories Online. JSTOR, of course, has such a breadth of articles that you need to be very cautious about how you go through the search process with this, and there's also going to be a video on our YouTube channel describing how to do JSTOR specific searching and the different ways that you can take advantage of their advanced search features and some of the narrowing options that I'll discuss later in this video and more specifically in that video. Cambridge Histories Online is a great one to get a sort of a base sense of what you're doing, to hash out some of the topics that may have been initially introduced to you in the initial readings assignment, but you need further clarification or a broader understanding of. Avoid Google and Wikipedia and other popular sources. And I think this sort of goes back to this idea of the important differences between scholarly and popular sources. These aren't necessarily going to give you peer-reviewed articles, aren't going to give you things that are critically evaluated by academics in the field that they're respectively written in, and just generally are going to give you a lower quality of writing than scholarly sources. So stay away from these. I know it may be tempting. Okay, so I think making a list of keywords, in particular directly after your initial readings assignment, if you happen to be in the ancient history class, is a really smart topic. So what are keywords? What can you be thinking to compile when you're trying to do this research? So carefully review that initial reading, and I would suggest highlighting and perhaps taking notes on sort of important ideas in that as well, and thinking about the places, the dates, the proper nouns, and the phenomena that are regularly appearing in these works and that would serve as good keywords and search terms that can sort of form the basis of what your results may be. So keep in mind that what keywords you end up using determine the relevance of your results, and they also sort of determine the breadth of your results. So something as simple as an Alexander the Great search would likely return a ton on, JSTOR, Cambridge history, even perhaps a library catalog itself. But if you do something like a particular military policy or tactic in conjunction with Alexander the Great, then that is going to narrow those searches down and make it a little bit more manageable for you when you're determining sources that you want to use. So consider different search strategies. Something that I'll get into in later videos about JSTOR and Cambridge Histories Online is that there's a number of modifications that you can do for searches, and that will help you hone in the topic, and the breadth of your results will become smaller and more manageable. You'll have a better sense of what that reading and scholarly discussion around a particular topic might look like if you have a more focused search. So think about using advanced search to include more keywords. Oftentimes, advanced searches have the opportunity to use Boolean operators, which are the words and or, and you can do keyword searches with one topic and another, and you get only results that have both of those words in them, or you can use or, which is one or the other. So I think that this is really important because you can either expand or sort of shrink your search results based on these two different operators here. And then you can also limit based on the type of source. So oftentimes if you're looking at JSTOR, if you're looking at the Commonwealth Library Catalog, there is a series of modifiers for the search that happens on the left. And I like to think of this and describe it to researchers as something a bit like Amazon. So on the left-hand side of the page on Amazon, you're typically going to get options for, do you want things that are exclusively Prime? Do you want things that are in Home and Garden? Do you want things that are in a different area? So I encourage you to think about different library searches in a very similar light. So you can be clicking over on the left side, usually of JSTOR, Cambridge Histories Online, for different ideas like genre, date published, place of publication, subject, and hopefully that will help you narrow and refine your options. So for instance, I know in JSTOR there's an option for images only. Perhaps you are uninterested in images and you want to click everything but that. Okay, this is crucial. I really think that it gets overlooked in the research process, especially when folks are just starting out. Once you have a really solid source, I particularly recommend larger books that sort of cover a breadth of topic and really offer a number of resources and cover a range of subject areas, is to look at their bibliographies, look at the citations that they have, look at the works cited page in general, and really review what's listed in there, because those sources are what inform the current writers of that. So you're able to look at those sources in turn and maybe perhaps find more relevant resources for you. So the wonderful thing about peer-reviewed and scholarly articles is that they're always going to have some type of citations list at the end of their them, whether they're articles, book chapters, footnotes, so on. Just be cautious to be looking at those and to consider that those are wonderful resources for you to go off and say, oh, I haven't seen this book before, but it's being cited in a particular place that is relevant to my research. Perhaps I'll go and dig into this. And then in turn, this is sort of a cyclical thing. You can look at those resources in that as well. And there's a whole network of interconnected texts that you can find through citations and bibliographies. So I would say, finally, my big point on this is, if you are struggling with navigating search tools, with figuring out where to start your search, how to locate bibliographies and works cited in particular sources, you should find a local librarian, whether that may be at the Minuteman Libraries or the Boston Public Libraries or myself. We're all more than happy to help you with the research process, and it would be a thrill for me if I got to do some research appointments with you all. I'm open for those whenever you so choose. You can just send me an email and I'll answer that. I'm happy to help out with search strategies at large as well. And yeah, just reinforce that librarians at local libraries would be thrilled to talk to you and are dedicated to helping folks conduct research. So thank you so much, and looking forward to hearing research questions from you all as the semester progresses.